Well, hello, everybody. God gave me something. What was it? 2 weeks ago? A week ago? Something? One of the days. I don't know. I was up there singing, and He told me about our emotions and about our vehicle that we use to get from place to place. This is our. I guess it would represent our body, our spirit body, our person body, all of the things that we use to get places and all the stuff. And I taught the children's church, which is what I'm used to doing. So if I speak like a toddler, you'll have to forgive me. But they said that this was TT. It's a little girl. She's got her hair put up like mine. And I asked them, why does TT go right here? And they said, no, TT doesn't go right here. And I said, well, why? Do you remember why, Sawyer? You don't remember why? He said, because Mom doesn't know everything, which is completely true. Mom doesn't know everything. I know some things, but sometimes my brain doesn't work. Do we know who this is? Can we see this? It's Jesus. It's actually David, but it's the only bigger person that had a staff that looked like Jesus. So we are going to use him. He's representation of Jesus. So where does Jesus sit? Does he sit in the back? No, he sits in the front. That's right, Phelan. He sits in the front. Can you tell me why?
Because.
Here. Tell Pop. Tell Pop why.
You don't know everything.
Jesus knows everything, right? He knows where we're going all the time. He knows all the roadblocks. He knows all the traffic, everything the other cars are doing. He knows everything. Like where we have to guess, and is that car going to stop or is it going to keep going? God already knows all that. So in our bus, in our vehicle, it is supposed to be Jesus in the front, and then us, our person, spirit person, in right behind him, because we always look to him, irregardless to whatever's going on, happy, sad, whatever. We always look to God because he knows the best way, he knows the best route to get to our destination, right? And we have our emotions. We have all of these cool little jars, and they do different things to represent the different emotions. This one has got so many beads in it that it does not shake, and he is overwhelmed because he can't move. This one has they're orange, yellow, and red Orbeez, and they move very fast, and he is excited. We have lonely. There's just one Orbeez in there. He's blue, and it's hard to find him because all he can see is himself with all these shiny things in there with him. We have happy, who's gold, and he moves around all the places. We have nervous or anxiety. He's green, and he is full of glitter and butterflies, because we've all had that feeling where we had butterflies in our tummy. We have sadness. He is very much like slime, and he's very slow because we get kind of, if it lasts, we get kind of depressed with that. So it's kind of sluggish. We have calm. There's just one sun in there, and he's orange, and you can see straight through it. We have fear, and it constantly moves, and it does all of the different. You can see the waves in there. It's really cool. Fear's not cool, but the waves are cool. And then we have impatient. He wants to go so fast, but he's got this little purple thing in there that stops him, so he has to wait his turn, and he doesn't like that. And I also have mad, but at the moment I cannot find mad. Don't know where it went. So I asked my Sunday school children's church friends, what we do when we feel a certain way. Let's start with scared. Scared sometimes can be a very, very big feeling. So we move Jesus because it's bigger than him at the moment, and we let it drive. Can you tell me why that's not okay? Sawyer, why is scared driving not okay?
Because he doesn't know the way.
He doesn't know the way, and because he would probably not move very far, right? He would be too, well, I said scared. This is sad. He'd be too sad to move. He would stay in one place. He would go very, very slow. You're right. So it's not very good for our feelings to get so big that they overpower our brain. So Jesus has to move backwards because all we can see is our fear, or is our sadness, or is our mad. So what needs to happen is we need to move them backwards. We still have the feeling. It's still here. We're all going to experience some sort of an emotion, and God gave them to us, and they're fantastic if it is handled correctly. So how do we get this? How do we deal with this? I mean, it's not as big because we're not looking straight at it. We're still looking at God, but we still have this feeling. So how do we handle that? And what I told my kids is you find your grown-up that you trust. You find your whoever that you feel comfortable with, and you talk to them, and then you can sit it out eventually. Sometimes it rides along for a little while, but after a little bit, you can set it out, and then it's okay again. You've not lost your order, because God's very big on order. So your order is still correct. It's still exactly the way that it needs to be, and you've dealt with your feeling, because we all have those, even excited. So, sadness is not okay to drive, because he would go very slow, and it would not let us see where we need to go, or we just wouldn't move. So what about excited? Why can't excited drive? Excited is a good emotion, or we perceive it as a good emotion. Sawyer does not want to answer, but he does know the answer, don't you? Excited would be so excited that it would run off the road. It would drive erratically, and it would be a little bit crazy, and our bus might not make it to its destination in one piece. And that is not okay. We're supposed to always trust God, even in the excited, so that we can get where we need to be safely, because that's what the whole thing is about. That's salvation, all of it. We get safely to the next destination. So, there's a lot of times, like everybody's had stuff go on this week, and I talked about that Sunday. But there's a lot of times that we feel a little overwhelmed, like our little friend here who has a very crazy face because there's so much going on in his noggin that he can't get past. You can't even see through him, so there's no way that he's going to be able to get past that by himself. So what we do when we feel like that is we move Jesus to the back, and we have our overwhelmed. And with overwhelmedness, sometimes comes fear and sadness, and then you feel lonely because nobody else you see at the moment is feeling overwhelmed, just you. And then we're going to put the rest of these in here because there is a lot of times that we feel all of this stuff, if I can get them in here, at one time. I don't want to break the bus, but they need to go in here. Okay. When I did it in the classroom, Jesus in the back there, he was hanging out the window, and the kids were screaming, "Don't let Jesus fall out," and it was hilarious. But there's a lot of times that we feel just like this, right? There's a lot of times that I feel like that, and it takes a lot for me to process it. So us as grown-ups, or adult people, and then children as well, what we need to do is we need to find our safe person, our safe, godly person that we can go to, and we can pray and we can, talk about whatever it is going on. We all have those people. Dad is one of my people. And that's not just because he's my pastor or because he's my dad. He's kind of my friend too. So that's just, in a nutshell, all of that stuff. But you find your safe person, your safe, godly person. I just threw anxiety. And you talk about whatever it is and you take it out. Because this is not safe. You can't see out the windows. I'm hiding back here in this window, and all I can see is beads. And Jesus is somewhere in the back squished, and that's not safe. So you talk about one, you identify what it is, where it's coming from, whether it's a good emotion, like excitement, or it's a bad emotion, like fear. You talk about it, and you have to do it one at a time, because trying to talk about a bunch at once makes it hard to get them out. So you do it one at a time. You find each one, identify where it's coming from. You pray about it, whatever needs to be done, and then you set it out. You might have one or two linger, and that's okay. Thank you, Josiah. Usually after I've had all of these emotions, I feel this one, the one that anxiety that Josiah picked up for me. But what we do is we move Jesus back to the front. We say, I'm sorry. I thank you so much for giving me all these emotions, but I'm sorry for letting them get so big that I put you in the back seat. And then you fix yourself, because I was a little bit wonky in there. I couldn't sit straight. And then I put my emotion in the back. And I say, God, whenever I'm going to trust you in all of this and everything that's going on. And eventually, this I can sit out. But it is a beautiful process if we can figure out how to handle them and they not be so big. Like whether you're 34 or you're 5, it is important for you to have people to talk to. That's why God sent his disciples and everybody out in twos, because we can't handle everything on our own. We're not meant to. We need fellowship. We need good Christian friends, good Christian people to talk to and rely on. And they're going to mess up, and you're going to mess up, and that's just part of being people. But if you don't take that into consideration, the friends part, because to God, friends are a big deal. Friends are a huge, like he called John friend, right? Was it John? Abraham. He called Abraham friend. That is a huge deal. He didn't call everybody that. He picks people that he knew had his back, and they knew that he had theirs. And it is good, godly fellowship, good, godly relationship. And you need to find your people, and you need to talk about your things. And y'all, huh? Yeah, Jesus always drives. Irregardless to if I'm mad, I don't have mad. But if you're mad can sit in the back. Until you decide to deal with it, it's going to sit there anyway. But it is not as big as Jesus. And even your friends, your good, godly friends, they sit in the back. Because your focus should always be on God. That doesn't mean you won't ever deal with any of this. But it does mean that when you do deal with it, you know who's going to take you right out of that destination into the next one. Thank you, guys.